Hey everybody, my name is Clyde Temple, and I want to talk to you about a candidate that's running for office. I want to talk about Dan Crenshaw. Dan Crenshaw is the guy, if you remember, he's a former Naval SEAL. He starred on Saturday Night Live in a kind of cool skit, and now he is the sitting congressman in the 2nd Congressional District here in Texas. Now, he's been running some ads talking about he wants to protect pre-existing conditions. But I don't believe him. I think he bullshitting you. I'm going to just put it out there. In the next few minutes, and it's not going to be long, we're going to talk about why I don't believe him, why you shouldn't believe him, and who you should vote for in the Congressional District of the 2nd in Texas. Crenshaw's voting record betrays his stand on talking about protecting your previously existing conditions. Every time he's voted, 93.9 times in his congressional votes, he sided with his boss, President Trump. Here's his statement. Although he says in his earlier statement about health care, things we expect from someone who cares about the preservation of health care, for all we find some troubling problems in his credibility with the statement. Let's break the statement down and look for some key words that he's using that tell us that he's lying. The terms like free market, competition, socialized medicine, increased taxes all fly in the face of his claims that he intends to preserve the current pre-existing conditions protections coverage in the statement, with his tendency to agree with Trump 93.9% of the time when he votes in support of Trump's legislative agenda items. Now, President Trump has spent all of his time in office in efforts to repeal the Affordable Care Act, which, if you don't know, is Obamacare. And we all know when you don't follow the president's wishes, you get vaporized. So, in short, keeping pre-existing conditions would either mean enhancing the current ACA to the dismay of the president, or replacing the act with something else, which, by the way, Trump has never introduced in any form. You can't do both. And Crenshaw is lying to you. Don't believe me? Look at his voting record for this year compared to Trump's agenda. Let's take a look. I'm going to escape. And I'm going to take you to a website. Now, you can look at this website, and this website is found 538.com. That's the URL. It talks about Dan Crenshaw's record and his voting record and as a Republican representative in the 2nd District. Now, look at his career score in comparison to his support for Trump. 93.9% of the time he votes with Trump. Now, let's look at what he's voted affirmatively on with Trump. All right, for providing money for clean energy research and changing rules for energy efficiency. Trump opposed it. He voted no on it. He voted right with his buddy. He agreed with Trump here. Allowing lawsuits against discrimination in education programs regardless of official intent. Trump opposed it. He was right with Trump. Let's go down further. Providing additional money to the U.S. Postal Service and prohibiting the agency from making certain changes. Trump opposed it, and he agreed with Trump. Oh, by the way, don't you think we need our mail to be delivered? This fool is trying to keep your mail from being delivered to you right along with Trump. I tell you again, on these 3 things alone, you know you can't trust him to tell the truth, because everything we need, he's voting against. Let's go down a little further. Oh, look at this. A $1.5 trillion infrastructure bill which would provide thousands of jobs. Let's see what Trump wanted to do. Oh, Trump opposed it. And a no vote means that he opposed it too. Oh, another check in the Trump column. He's still supporting Trump. Okay, let's go further. Repeal of the Rule Change and Community Reinvestment Act standards. Same thing. All right, let's go further. Let's see what else is going on. Uh-oh. June 29th. extending housing assistance in response to the coronavirus pandemic. Trump opposed it. He opposed it. He's keeping with his 93.9% agreement with Mr. Trump. Super jerk. Okay, now let's go back to the presentation. Now let's look at it. Let's look at his statement. Let's look real good at his statement. I'm going to read it to you. I understand all too well the experience of being a patient in socialized medicine, keyword, in both the military and VA environment, when no one is held accountable and there's no competition, keyword, of quality care suffers and prices skyrocket, keywords. We need a free market, keyword, patient-centered healthcare system that gets the government out of your doctor's office. But unfortunately, Obamacare has caused healthcare costs, keywords, kicked off millions of Americans off their healthcare insurance plans, and increased taxes, keyword, all of which have been determined detrimental to the healthcare system. He goes on to say, our goal should be to implement a healthcare system that puts patients first, encourages competition, keyword, allows consumers to buy healthcare insurance across state lines, and expand health savings accounts. Our vision for healthcare should be centered on choice, keywords, customability, innovation, with sensible safety nets to ensure that those with pre-existing conditions are not left behind. That's a great statement, isn't it? It sounds great, but it's political. It's bullshit. I'm going to tell you why. Because if he voted 93.9% with Trump, he's not going to be able to provide you with protection for pre-existing conditions. Why? Because there is no alternative plan. There is no alternative plan to protect pre-existing conditions. So how does he expect to do this? Either he's got to enhance Obamacare, the ACA, or he's got to present a whole plan. Crenshaw doesn't have it. Trump doesn't have it. So this leaves us to understand he's bullshitting you. Let's go on to the next slide. When you look at his voting record, you'll see that he's not for education assistant. He's not for clean energy research. He's with Trump dismantling the United States Postal Service. That's going to cause loss of jobs and decreased efficiency in the delivery of mail. And we all got to get our checks. If nothing else, we got to get our checks on time. He voted against infrastructure improvement, which cost us more jobs. In June 2020, he voted against coronavirus relief in the form of housing assistance. That has already resulted in homelessness. They are still playing with relief money. And again, in June 29th, he voted against changing regulations on consumer credit reporting, making it harder for consumers to navigate the current system. If 93% of the time Dan Crenshaw's vote supports the Trump agenda, why would you think all of a sudden he would go against his political boss? He's only saying what he needs to say to remain in power. Don't believe Dan Crenshaw. Seema Lajavardian is your obvious choice. She is going to protect your pre-existing conditions. She's going to take us forward and away from this fool Donald Trump and the liar Dan Crenshaw. So I say again, as I've said before, take control of your future. Vote for your future. Vote for your pre-existing conditions. And vote because you have the facts. I've just given them to you. And if you haven't voted yet, it's time to go ahead and handle your business. Thank you so much. God bless you. God bless the United States.